Hey everyone, if you're new, my name is Valerie, and typically I work with succulents, but I found this mini monstera plant for $9 and I couldn't pass it up. So that's what I wanted to make the video about today. Definitely needs a repotting. You can see the roots jumping out at the bottom. It also came on a moss pole already, and usually these moss poles are like $10 each if you're buying them at like a nursery. So I figured just the moss pole alone was a decent buy. But one of the other reasons I selected this particular plant is because of all of the points of growth on it. So I think I counted 7 new growth points on it. So you can see one here, let me make sure they're all on camera. One here, one just next to it on the other side, above that, up here, and then if you can look further in, you can see a few more growth points, 2 more big ones at the top. And even though the original stem has been cut, probably it got too tall at the nursery since they were all about this height. It is so bushy that I can afford to cut off a few of them to experiment with it, make new plants, while also keeping it looking really nice. So that's what I wanted to do today. So I'm gonna select 2 of them at points where I don't think it'll make too much of a difference to the plant, and then I'm going to cut it off right at the nodes. So probably the ones that are the closest together here. So I would say maybe this one. You can see up in there. We've got one down at the bottom here, but I kind of like this leaf falling off. So I'm gonna try the one there. It actually looks like it's almost being smushed. So I'm just gonna get up in there and chop that one. Whenever you're taking cuttings, you do wanna make sure you have at least 2. I didn't think it was attached to the moss pole either, but it looks like it might be. So I'm gonna have to really gently try to remove that. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's really in there. I might have to just cut that off. Yep. It's nice if you can just, if it's around the outside, so you can kind of just pull it off, but in this case I'm a jerk and I'm trimming the aerial root also. Sorry about that. But there's one, so it's got 3 nice leaves on it. And a little bit of the aerial root that unfortunately I had to cut. That's one, so still looks great in my opinion. And then let's get one more. Maybe I'll do the one on the opposite side, since these leaves are getting a little bit too bunchy in here. Okay, so we have the second one picked out. I'll go with the one a little bit further up. But again, it's also got those aerial roots attached because, that's the whole point of the moss pole. So unfortunately, gotta trim that. Oh, it is 2. Sorry. Plant. All right, but we got two nice cuts here, and the plant hardly looks any different. So I am going to again repot this one and then experiment with these 2. One is going to go into sphagnum moss and one is going to go into water to see which root faster and which one I should go with in the future, because I'm sure this is going to give me more. I already see some new growth points forming at the bottom. So that's the plan for now. I'm actually going to use a significantly larger pot for the repotting. This is not usually advised, but I have this pot and I don't feel like repotting this, especially since the moss pole is going with it. And I'm just going to be adding on to the moss pole because already I need a new one. Here she is in her new pot. Much larger, probably unnecessary for it to be that large, but I know she's going to keep growing. So I feel like that's a good pot. And then the 2 cuttings that we will experiment with. First cutting, sphagnum moss. And then put in my little prop tray here. The second cutting in water. We'll update in a month. And here we are 1 month later, and not as much root growth as I would have expected. In fact, this sad cutting that was in the moss, I don't even think has any. The last I checked, it did not have any. And clearly it's not very happy, all droopy like this. It hasn't dried up. I have tried to keep the moss. Is that just moss or is it? I think that's just moss stuck on the end there. And around the nodes, I don't even really see any root growth. Yeah, so that was already there. So it's not dead, but it's not good. So what I'm actually going to do with this one is move it into water after I make this video today, because the ones in the water look great still, right? They look very nice. The new one coming in, the new leaf coming in doesn't look great, but that's okay because the other leaves still look great. And we do have some root growth here. I did expect it to be a little bit more after a month, but that's still pretty good to me. I might even just plant this. What's funny is that I might end up actually swapping and putting the one that was in the moss into the water to get the roots going, and then putting the one that was in the water into the moss to continue growing. So from now on, I will be rooting my mini monstera in water. In fact, it looks so nice that I might just do it to be pretty rather than just purposeful. So water propagation, I am going to suggest, is the way to go for these plants, and maybe getting them into moss afterward, or just, leaving them in water if you want them to look pretty like this on a countertop or something. So thank you for watching.
Subscribe